requesting to become part-time staff now that they've come back to work? Well, in today's episode, we're going to talk to you about what to do and how to handle it. Let's do it. Salon owners are some of the most amazing people on planet Earth. The only problem is sometimes their hearts are so big and they give so much of themselves to their staff and guests that it creates unintended consequences. Our goal is to change the industry by elevating the way the rest of the world sees salons, spas, and barbershops and give it the credibility that it truly deserves. This is the Salon Owner Evo-Revo Show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel. Welcome to the Evo-Revo Show. I'm your host, Jason Everett, and with me today is Mr. Doug Campbell. What's up, Doug?
How's it going?
Dude, always good to have you on today, and looking forward to chatting about this subject today because, man, Doug, we had a post inside Profitable Salon Owners that just blew up, and it said, you know, how are you owners, you salon owners, right? How are you owners dealing with salon staff that now is preferring and requesting to go part-time after being off? Is it just me? And by the way, if you're listening to this show right now or watching the show, however you're consuming the show today, and you're having that problem where who used to be full-time are now coming back from quarantine and lockdown and going, I don't need to work full-time. I mean, part-time would be all right, right? If you have people like that are on your staff that are going from full-time to part-time, would you do me a favor and say full to part-time in the chat? I want to know if that's a problem that you're experiencing in your area. And then do me a favor and type in what area you're in. So I know. I'd love to find out if you're from Pennsylvania, if you're from Seattle, if you're from Dallas, Texas. We want to find out how that is working for you in those areas. And Doug, for you, man, are you finding that you're seeing that from your salon staff that's coming back, that they're saying, you know what, I don't want to work full-time anymore?
We've got a mix. I mean, we've got 3 different locations. So there's a little bit of a mix. But I think, it's like we had talked about before, broad brushing, you got to be careful, because it's funny because your staff's bad about doing it too. They'll do the thing that nobody wants to buy retail, or they're getting it from Amazon, or they're getting it from Ulta. And it's like when it gets down to it, maybe 3 of their 200 clients made that comment.
The 3 of everybody.
Right. Yeah. So it is easy to generalize those things, or a broad brush. So because you have a couple of staff come up and request, and it's like, they all want to work part. Nobody wants to work. And we start taking that to its nth degree instead of saying, what do I have to deal with here? And I'm a big fan of, it's a puzzle, right? So how do you find these pieces of the puzzle that fit together? And somebody wants something different. I say, okay, I take that piece. And so, because it's always changing. I mean, if you get to any size, it's always shifting.
Every day.
Pregnancy is one of those things, all of a sudden 3 people in your business are pregnant. You're going to have to figure out how to rearrange the pieces of the puzzle that you're dealing with in order to make your business operate correctly.
And I think here's the problem. And you mentioned this about this whole broad brush idea, right? This broad brush or generalizations. And I think social media has its gifts, right? There's gifts of social media, and then there's traps of social media. One of the gifts of social media is it lets you find more people. Like inside our High Performance Salon Academy, one of the gifts of social media is it brings together salon owners from all over the country who want to be, high performance, that they want to be ambitious, creative salon owners. And we get to come together and figure out how to run better salons. But the curse of social media, okay, this is really important. The curse of social media is if you say, oh my God, everybody seems to be leaving due to pregnancy after coming back to the salon. And then you have everybody in social media. See here, I'm doing it. Everybody on social media. Now you have like 10 other people on social media that go, oh yeah, I lost somebody due to pregnancy too to my staff. And then, oh yeah, we have 3 girls pregnant in our salon. And what starts to happen is you feel more affirmed in your belief because there's more people believing what you believe, right? Doug, you and I teach this in our programs, especially like Little Voice Mastery, is reality is created by agreement. And when you can get more than one person to agree with you, your reality becomes more solid. And so on social media, as soon as you want to start, dare I say, bitching and whining about something, and you can find other people to bitch and whine and moan and complain and say, oh yeah, me too. That's a problem for me too. And you start stacking it. You become affirmed in your reality that says, you know what? if these people are experiencing it, Doug, if some of these people are coming back, and requesting to be part-time, and other people are feeling it too, well, then guess what? That must mean it's everybody.
Yeah,
right?
the mistake that your reality turns into what you perceive as a truth. And that's the mistake that people make. If enough people agree with this, must be true. And that's usually not the case, right? You got to look at, is my reality lining up with the truth? And the truth is there's all different types of, we've got some people that are in their 20s that are gung-ho, wanting to work. Some people, we had this one associate this recently started. She's working with us, doing great, but she also has 2 other jobs. I mean, it's like
what? No, Doug, I don't know if you're familiar. Millennials do not have any work ethic. They don't want to do anything, and they just want to hang out and just sleep at home. Apparently, their pajamas all day, right?
That's a unicorn. And it's like, no, it's not. There's several of them. And that's the thing. You just got to look. There are those people out there, but then there's also, in my opinion, there's very valuable people that want to work part-time. It's like, that's okay. Because it's like, it's not selfishness, it's self-interest. The people operate, whether you're an owner, whether you're an employee, you're operating from your self-interest. It's just the way we are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if people are being selfish, that's a different whole ball game. But we're talking about
let's talk about this, because this is a super important topic, Doug. Is that people think, oh, they're just being selfish. They're not interested in being a part of the business anymore. They just want to do what's good for them, what feels good. That's their problem, right? Is that they're being selfish. But like you just said, though, it's not about them being selfish. It's about them acting out of their own self-interest. Can we talk? And can I get say self-interest in the chat for me? I want to make sure you guys are connecting on this point. Tell me about what acting out of selfishness means, Doug. What does acting out of self-interest mean?
Yeah, well, so and it's like, by the way, it's seen the other way around too. If the owner, like, you've got to work Saturdays, you've got to do that, you got to work the schedule I give you, the employee sees the owner as being selfish.
Totally.
So it's both sides of the equation. So it's
right.
Selfish is whenever you're keeping something for yourself and you're taking something away from somebody. I mean, that's being selfish. I'm not willing to my toy. Right,
mine.
Mine. You can't have it. Don't touch it. My schedule. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
My thing. Don't mess with it. So there's a difference. But self-interest, we all. I mean, and that's okay. You need to have self-interest for your family. Your family should come first. You're the way that you want to live your life. You get one of them. It should come first. But it doesn't mean that 2 people looking at, so for your business, you need to be concerned about your business. It needs to come first. So if you got 2 people, it's got self-interest. How do we put those pieces of the puzzle together so we meet both of our self-interests and are able to put those together? We're not being selfish. We're trying to figure out how can this, because it can work. My self-interest and your self-interest both can be served, and we can create that reality, like we talked about earlier, the reality of that it can work. We just have to be creative in the way that we do it. And it's like people say, oh, it's all part-time. It's all part-time. So there's benefits to all part. If most of your staff is part-time, if you lose somebody, it's not as big of a hit to you as if it was one your full-time heavy hitter and they leave. And by the way, if you've got a heavy hitter that's wanting Saturdays or nights off, I mean, that's where
people might want to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, you get in your own way there. It's like, so you got to do it this way. And there's, oh my God, they actually left. Okay, so are you better off? Are you better off because you forced them out the door? Or would it have been maybe a smarter thing to say, hey, let's put your schedule in the slower times at the salon so we can build up the slower times at the salon. Helps my self-interest, helps your self-interest. And let's put the people that have openings in those more needed times of evenings and weekends and let those people there.
They can fill up their books.
It works. You just got to get in that mindset. How can I serve my self-interest and your self-interest at the same time? And sometimes it's not going to work out. And if that's the case, that's okay too.
I think this is it. And I want you guys to hear this. And if this is helpful so far, do me a favor and comment and say helpful. But here's the point of business is that you take people and you help them achieve your goals and you achieve. And so those people that work for you as employees, they've got their own goals, their own dreams, their own aspirations. And they say, hey, Jason, hey, Doug, hey, Susan, I will come work for you if you give me money to achieve the goals that I want to achieve in my life, right? Like if you pay me and you help me increase my lifestyle, I will trade you my hard work in order for money that will help me get what I want, right? Like they're acting in their own self-interest to produce income for their money to make their lives better, their family better, whatever they need to do. That's what they're there for. And they're helping you achieve your goal, your own self-interest, your own dreams and desires by being an employee for you. So if you look at that, it's like when those two things are in harmony and in unison, right? Is like your goals match up with my goals. I like working with people. I like making people's lives better. I like making people feel beautiful. Hey, so do I. Maybe we should work together and run a business. I'll pay you for what you do. You get to work here. We'll do some stuff together. As soon as those values no longer align, that's when you part ways with a team member, right? Is like no longer are your interests married with my interests. I think that's a big deal. So if you're saying, look, I want to run a full-time salon and everybody here is full-time, and somebody comes to you and says, look, I don't want to be full-time anymore. Well, guess what? They may not be a good fit for your salon now. Right? And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they've acted in their self-interest. They were always acting in their own self-interest. Just it no longer aligns with the values that you've established for your salon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think
Hopefully it does.
To your point, if that's the salon that you want to run, and that's the way you think that you want to, okay, fine, and find people that want to work here. But you also have to remember that in order to survive as a business, you've got to be able to evolve as a business. It's like if I was a business that we did all of our deliveries with horse and carriage, and we're always going to do that. We're not doing those other noisy.
We are a horse and carriage delivery company.
Right. That's what we are. If you don't want to do that, you want to ride around in one of those noisy machines, then go do something else. Well, guess what? I probably wouldn't be I definitely wouldn't be in business anymore. But just paying attention.
Not anymore.
To where things are changing, how things are changing. Just like online.
Doug, super good point. Super good point. I want to talk about the evolution of the salon industry, but we have to take a short break. I don't mean to cut you off other than to take this break. Let's take a quick break. Let's talk about some of the biggest evolutions in people since coming back from COVID. Let's talk about what are some of the challenges and issues that have come up. All when we come back after the short break, we're going to talk about the evolution. Let's do it.
Hey, HPSA listeners, let me ask you this. Are you tired of not knowing what your hair color is costing you on every appointment and watching it chew up your profit? Well, with Salon Scale, we take the guesswork out for you. Using a mobile app paired with a Bluetooth scale, Salon Scale will tell you exactly what your color is costing you on every bowl mix down to the gram. As you mix, Salon Scale will also digitally store your formulas and track how much product is being used in real time, so you can manage your inventory, cover your expenses, and generate more profit in your salon. Use promo code HPSA10 to get 10% off an annual subscription. Salon Scale, the new standard for mixing color.
All right, so we're talking about the evolution of the salon industry. People coming back from being away, deciding that they were, look, I was full-time before, but I'm just not, full-time's not my jam. I think I need to go part-time. I want to change my schedule. And people's requests are changing. I mean, look, we've said this since before coronavirus. We said, if you're still running your salon the same way that you were 30 years ago, you got a problem, right? Your guests have evolved. Your staff has evolved. Why are you not evolving as a salon owner? Doug, what have you seen because in my opinion, in the last year, we've rapidly evolved. Like we've evolved as an industry, as a salon industry, almost 10 years into the future, right? Just because in this last year with things that have changed inside the industry. What are some of the things that you've seen that have changed the most since being back open?
Well, I mean, there's several things. I say a lot of the industry has changed, but some of them haven't, and that's the people that are hitting their heads against the wall or have gone out of business.
That's right.
Because they were not willing to embrace some of the change. And just like our sponsor, Salon Scale, I mean, that's a great thing of changing. One of the things during the downtime, a lot of people, including us, took time to really look at our business model and what needed to update. That was one of the things that was a great update. Brought a lot of clarity and profitability back into the salon space. Right. Just like all your online booking, your POS systems, and POS systems have changed dramatically. Their capabilities of what they can do and the way that you embrace your marketing campaigns. There's just multiple things. The online booking, I know people, I mean, we were resistant at the beginning because it was different. It's scary. It's like, oh, somebody's going to book it. It's going to be a color correction. It's going to cause problems. So we had to overcome those things and learn how to educate our clients and find a system that would do it correctly, where it would guide people to the correct spot, and then have a backup of, how you check in. But all these different things, same thing with the POS systems, being able to mobile touchless checkout people. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do now that you used to couldn't do. And if you weren't willing to do that, and that's one of the other things, and it still exists today. It kind of blows my mind, is that owners are paranoid to have their staff have access to the POS system in any meaningful way. I mean, that like be able to see.
Don't give them something they can access the system.
Right. It's like, oh, well, I don't want them having this information, because then they'll say, it's like, in today's world, if your staff wants your client's information, it's called social media. They can get it all day long. They don't need to get the information out of your POS system. But giving them the ability to book appointments, giving them the ability to see their calendars on their phones, giving them the ability to do those things is very helpful. And just because they have that information, I mean, there's other things that you should have in place. I mean, non-competes, a legal, reasonable non-compete is a good thing to have. It's like, look, if you're going to be on the team, I'm going to be investing time and effort in educating you and marketing for you and doing those things. In return, understand this reasonable non-compete. And if somebody doesn't want to do it, then it tells you they're not a long-term person for you anyway. So that's a great thing to have. But the other way, still people, you can get people's information. It still blows my mind. Oh, I don't know if I want them seeing that. It's like, why? And I also believe, I believe that in transparency, I believe that your staff should know and understand the business. It shouldn't be this mystery thing out there that they need to understand.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Right. Because I mean, ultimately, I want them part of the business. I want them in ownership of the business. I want them to grow to the point where they can own part of this business. So I want them to understand how it works, so they know how to impact, if they become an owner, how they actually make money off that, because it's not magic. You don't say, I'm an owner now and I instantly get this check. That's not the way it works.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's just multiple things to your point. The way technology is growing and the way that the world is just shifting. It's just like, a lot of things that happen because of of COVID. Is some things we're going to keep around. Some of the things that we shifted and changed, we're going to keep around because it makes sense.
I know a lot of salons started doing virtual consultations. That was one thing that I think is going to stick around, right? Doing virtual consults to actually walk people through and look at their hair before they see them in person. I think that's a huge time saver. I know with Salon Scale, we made some big changes to actually change how you price yourself for the industry. And Doug, you and I were trying to solve another problem yesterday, and it would actually be solved by Salon Scale. We were just talking about that, right? Is when the other question that came up was, can your staff do each other's hair during the workday? How do you work that out? And then how do they do family members' hair during the workday? And like you said, it's like, well, if we know how much color actually gets used, the exact amount, we can charge appropriately for it, so the business can still get paid for what it's got. And that, again, gets solved by Salon Scale. And I think one of the things that happens is, because salon owners are not traditionally in front of computers all day, every single day, right? They're cutting hair and they're into other things. I think they tend to be lagging on adapting and adopting to technology, right? Is they're like, I don't know, I'll just hold back. I'll wait. Online booking, websites, like you kind of have this like old school mentality. And there are those salon owners that jump on it. And again, not to broad brush everybody, like I said, not to do at the beginning of the show, right? That's not every salon owner. We have cutting edge salon owners, and then we have lagging salon owners. But as an industry in general, I think that what we get to do to help move everybody forward is not fight and resist all of this change, but figure out, how do you adapt? How do you adopt this idea and mentality? You go, look, I've got people who work full-time that want to be part-time. You are not going to change that person's mind who's already discussed with their spouse that they would like to be home for more time, and they finally build up the courage to come in and talk to you about it. And your answer is absolutely not. You cannot take Saturdays off. That's not longer going to be an employee of yours if that's your attitude the first time they come with you. So what I would encourage you guys to do, and really relentlessly pay attention to, is not assume, and Doug, you've mentioned this before, not assume that 1 or 2 or even 3 employees is your entire staff, right? Doug, you've said this really, really well, right? Is during a walkout, 2 people, like let's say you got 10 staff and 2 people leave. The danger is is that you start treating everybody like they're about to leave.
Yep. And so
Right?
80%
And why is that
of
a
people,
problem?
80% of the people are willing to stick with you. They knew. I mean, they know that people are leaving or about to leave. They always know before you know. But it's like 80% of them have chosen to say, no, I like you here. I'm going to stick it out here. If you start going to the mindset of that, now everybody's everybody's wanting to leave. Everybody's trying to screw me over. Everything I've done for these people and then some of them may go, this is unpleasant. And maybe I do want to go somewhere instead of being grateful for who's there. And how do I bring in the right people, the right fit that want to be there, that want to work in an amazing culture and want to do those things. And one of the other points, like you're making a while ago, is like, whenever we're talking about doing change and embracing things and stuff, that's what I love about, what we do in high performance is putting people together where they can share information. So you have different salons that can experiment, for the lack of a better word, try things and learn things and then share it with others. Hey, this really worked. So everybody doesn't have to implement this thing at once, but different people can implement it and see it work. And then they share it with other people and say, hey, this really worked. This really solves some of these problems. That power of group think and being connected to a group of people like that, a very diverse a group of people where you can have all these little experiments going on of how to run your business the best. And then that gets shared as a powerful thing.
And I would say under the right conditions, right? Because this is super important. Is it just like we talked about, like I said, on the very front side of this thing, and I'll wrap this podcast today with talking about this, is social media has given us a gift of community, right? Is being able to be around other people. But you get the choice of what community you're around. You either get to be around a group and a community of people whining and complaining about what's wrong with the world today, or you get to be around a community that's curated. And that's what we've done inside the academies. We've curated a group of people who say, I'm not going to put up with that negative mindset. I'm not going to complain about what's happened in the past. I'm just going to adapt, move forward, evolve as a salon, and become the next version of salon owner. And I think, Doug, we're working on some cool stuff right now. I know we're working on some pricing shifts and some models that are going to, I really do believe, are going to revolutionize the industry like what we've been doing in this last year. We've had so many innovations in so many places. And if you are not in a salon owner community where you're not getting those innovations, man, drop me a DM and just say, I want to talk community. That's a long thing to send me. Just send me a DM called community and we'll talk about it. But I just think get around a salon. If all of your salon owner friends are just complaining about the industry, talking about how everybody's leaving, nobody wants to work anymore, blah, blah, blah. And again, Doug, I think you said there's some good news on the horizon that the unemployment benefits will be ending in some places at the levels that they've been at. And I think it'll get people back to work and get people back into the workplace. That's helpful. But if that's not your reality right now, get around some salon owners. And I started this way. Your reality is created by agreement. The more people who believe in the reality, the more true it becomes for you. So if you have a negative reality being created around you, you'll get negative. So why not intentionally put yourself in a positive environment with people saying, here's what's working great, here's what's helping us grow, and it will make your world grow and work great as well. So I hope that was helpful. Doug, anything you want to say as we wrap up, man?
I think getting around people where the mindset is, I want to see what's possible in this amazing industry. Instead of everybody talking about what's wrong with the industry. The reality that you create is wildly different. The future for those two groups is wildly different. And it's all a matter of who you're going to get with and who you're going to create the most amazing reality that you can for the industry that you're in, because this is an amazing industry. And when done right, really impacts people's lives. And I would say impacts the world in a very positive way when done right. And I think also the opposite's true. When done wrong, it can have very damaging effects. So get yourself in the right group of people, get around, create the reality, and you have that choice. I don't care where you are. With today's technology, you have the choice to get around the right people.
You can live anywhere on earth and connect with the right community. So again, if you want help connecting with the right salon owner community, just send me a DM, say the word community, and I'll let you know how it works. Thank you so much for being on today, Doug. As always, dude, super good subject. It was helpful for you. Do me a favor in the chat and say what was helpful. If you have questions, you can always send me a DM and or comment on this show and let me know what you want to talk about. So as we grow this show, we can help more salon owners. Thank you so much for being here and appreciate you. Thank you, Doug.
Later.
Thanks for listening to the Evo-Revo podcast.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Salon Scale, allowing you to charge by what you know, not by what you feel.
Please subscribe, leave us a review, and you can always get more information, including show notes and the video episodes at evorevopodcast.com. Evo-Revo.com.